Welcome, everybody, to the DMP launch event. I'm Brody. I'm joined by Braden and James, locals of our DMP program. Today, we're having our launch event. It's been a full year so far in the making, and before we start, I want to thank everybody that's in the control room, everybody who's in the side room. I want to thank Michelle McManus, Michael Moore, and Steve Robinson for their continued support, for putting all this together. And just overall being mentors and teachers and really kind of just bringing us all together to run the show. And it's a humbling experience, and we're going to have fun. I hope you enjoy it. So we're going to get right into it. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Cool. I think that was a good starting point.
Yeah. I also want to give a special shout out to Andre Malikla in the corner there, playing us off and on with his delightful acoustic guitar.
It's very good. Thank you.
Andre Malikla is also a Confederation College student in the DSW program. He is 19 years old, and he's been playing music since he was about 3 years old.
Yeah, so we're lucky to have you. That's awesome. Super cool. Awesome. All right, so I guess if we want to start off just by talking about our experiences with the program so far, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, for myself, this is technically my second round of college. I was here last year before the strike in a program I was kind of iffy about. But I'm back in this program, and I was like, oh man, college. And I can't believe I had a second thought about this, because this is one of the best decisions I've made, because the program is just so inclusive in terms of its content, its professors or teachers, and it's just an amalgamation of all the stuff that's coming into the field right now. And I think if you're wanting to get into the field of both technology and social media, this is just a perfect platform and the perfect place to start, because the college just provides so much, and it's an environment that you not only get to learn, but you get to use the stuff that you're going to find in the field.
Right.
Stuff like this facility, the cameras, the equipment, everything the college will provide you with. And I don't think you're going to find anything else that's this hands-on anywhere else in the college.
Mm-hmm. And just like even adding on to that, like our first day here, I don't know what I was. I know it's kind of nerve-wracking going into a new learning environment, as like with anybody. You know, I took 2 years off of high school, and I came back to college, and I had no idea what I wanted to do.
I still don't.
Yeah, and I was thinking about going to film, and I was like, I'm not too sure. Still a great program, but I was like, it just probably wasn't for me. And then I saw they were revamping broadcasting, made it DMP, and I was like, yeah, it fits me perfectly. I thought it was super cool. Get to do all this and meet a lot of great people, you know. So I thought that was pretty solid.
Yeah, no, I want to say one of the biggest general criticisms of college when you're doing media stuff like this is people say, oh, just take your tuition and go buy a camera, just do it yourself. But for me, like, at least personally, I wouldn't know what I'm doing if I was doing that. Like, I'm glad I came to the college here, because I'm getting the training. I'm getting, like, access to all this equipment. I am getting taught, like, you know, what proper lighting is. I wouldn't find that myself. I wouldn't even think about it myself. Like, good audio, and, like, you're getting also contacts and connections with people here, too. So, all in all, like, I'm having a great time here. I was in a program last year, and I switched to this new one, and I'm having a blast with this new program. It's exactly what I want to do, really.
Yeah. I also think it's super cool with because just going off what you said before about how they teach you everything. Like I don't know. I spent a long time just looking up like YouTube videos and stuff, trying to figure out like what exactly am I doing. I never really. Even then, like I couldn't understand them fully. And just having teachers who are willing to sit down, work with you, just get you through doing whatever. You know, I think that's super cool, and I think that's a strong point that Confederation College definitely excels at. And yeah, I think it's solid.
It's just interesting to be kind of the guinea pigs for this program, because I'm curious at what next year students are gonna have. Because it's all really a learning experience for all of us, even the faculty. Like, just even some of the content has become kind of a joke between all of us, and it's all such. It's even just the content that's boring is fun, because it's the people that you're with and how you learn and shift with the program, it becomes kind of just a community, and everybody's helping each other, and everybody wants each other to succeed because we're all working together, because it's a program where we're all working on the same project. So it's not, okay, here's a textbook, go off and do whatever. It's, okay, everybody here, let's work together, let's get this done. And it's one of the more interesting groups I've been a part of, because we're all just wanting to do our best and strive to just be better. And it's amazing because we're just a bunch of people we've got people from all across Canada and the world just coming together and just having fun. And if you're on the fence about coming to college, I do it, because it's one of the best experiences I've had in my life. And
Oh yeah, I think by far.
and we're only done the first year. And I think next year's going to be even better. And I can't wait to see what's next. We're just it's just been such a blast, even just doing this production. We've all kind of come together and just kind of this little crew doing little bits and parts to make this huge grand display, and it's just a blast. Like it's so awesome to have such an awesome group of people just as, you know, we're all just having fun. And I think if you're looking for that kind of partnership and companionship and just looking for a different type of college experience, I would suggest DMP.
Yeah, and even like onto that too, like just the idea that way back in like September, you know, everyone was super nervous. Literally had no idea who anybody was going into this classroom, and now everyone's just super cool with each other. We've all worked with each other on like various projects, you know, various big things like that. We've all grown with one another, which I think is super cool. Learned a lot, that's for sure. A lot more than I don't know. I definitely know personally, like my confidence has grown like a million fold. Getting a chance to learn bouncing ideas off of one another and everybody like that. I think it was just having that creative input and that feedback, and everyone's like, oh, it's super cool, or maybe you could work on this. You know, I think that's super fun. And
going back to the community thing though, like, we in September we had no idea who each other were. Like maybe a few people have like, I kind of know this person, I've heard their name before, but now, even after first semester, have come to, we're like a family. I know it's a joke with the people like the DMP family, but like everyone in this program I've met is like just so friendly, and like we have those late nights in our 24-hour access lab. Thank you to the people who made that happen. Just like the late nights in there, we're all editing, working on our projects, and it is really like a community. We're a family. We help each other out where we need it, and it's just like it's been a great time. Like one of the most inclusive groups of people I've been with. I met randomly at college.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited to kind of introduce ourselves to the next years, because I'm excited to see how they kind of form into their own personalities. Because like for myself, I was a very kind of quiet, I didn't want to be part of anything. I wanted to just sit in the back and just relax. And now I'm sitting in here in front of everybody, wondering, what have I been waiting for? I mean, it's one of the most fun things I've ever done, and I'm at a loss for words just for how much I'm enjoying it.
I know. Like, even into that, like from me leaving high school, like I knew that I wanted to be more so on camera when I started this program, and I wanted to do that sort of thing. But like, I didn't know what kind of people I was going to be with. I don't know if I'd be like shot down immediately, you know, going back to that sort of thing. And it's all like a big confidence booster, especially Michelle's interviewing technique development class, I have to admit. It's definitely every chance I get now, I'm pretty much just like, I'll be in front of the camera. You know, I'm down. I'm interested. So I think it's different bits like that. If anybody's wants to do this sort of thing and they're not too sure how to go about it, or if they're not confident enough, believe me, you can do it. If you have all the support you need here, and believe me, if you have proper teachers letting you know what's going on, you'll make it. So you'll be fine.
So, what were you guys' experience at orientation like? Like coming, I know like you haven't been to the college right before, Braden, yeah, and like
yeah.
you, Brody, have been at the college before. Like, what was orientation like for the two of you?
For myself, it was really, oh man, who are all these people? Oh, I don't want to be here. And then day one of full classes is like, okay, I'm kind of getting into this. I could maybe talk to some of these people, and then jump to now. It's like, why did I just sit there? Like, this is one of the most comfortable programs I've ever been a part of, and I I encourage people, if you're a shut in and you're kind of shy, I think this is the place to go, because it's brings out not only your skills as a person, but your skills as a content creator, as a student, as it brings out every single part of you, and I think that's the most important thing to take away from it, is that even if you don't go into the field of media production, you're going to find yourself bettered as a person in terms of speaking, in terms of just producing things, in terms of just everything. And I can't imagine going into another program and seeing that kind of result, because DMP is just, it covers every inch of our social aspect, both electronically and non-electronically. And I think that's wonderful, because I've never seen a program do that before.
Okay. I wish I had as great an answer as that, but I really don't. I remember orientation day, driving. I was driving there. I didn't have a parking pass, and the bridge was out, and like there's like a million cars, and it's like close to 9:30. I'm panicking, I'm freaking out. I'm like, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late first day. I'm gonna mess this up. So, I remember like I ran. I was like over by like the Tim's, by like the health unit, backed all the way up, and I just remember I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna go. So I left my mom in the car, just booked it, ran all the way there, met all these people. I'm like, just had a bunch of exercise done. I'm not great with that. And I was super nervous, but I saw one person who I haven't seen since like grade 12, so like two plus years, and that was my friend Nova, and I just chilled with her, and that was it. I just hung out with her until I met a bunch of new people. It took a while, of course, as with anybody who's like in a new program, but I think we all kind of clicked, and it was a lot of fun. Orientation was cool. I remember before coming into orientation way back in like February of 2018 or March of February 2018. Or March 2018. Wow. I met up with Michelle, and she took me through like the web station before it was built, and like the studio, and like our cage area and stuff like that. So it just kind of reinforced the idea that I really wanted to come to this program, I think. So that was pretty much my orientation. That was it. It wasn't as well put as Brody's, I think, but it was something. I mean,
Nice.
I don't know.
Glad you guys had a good experience at orientation.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I had a lot of fun getting to meet new people. So. What was your experience? Oh, you didn't go this year.
I didn't go to orientation.
Yeah, you've already been here. You know.
I didn't even go to orientation my first year too. Like I was on a plane the first year, and this time like I know Mike. I know the college. I'm good enough.
I don't need it. It's fun.
I just came to class, and I had no idea who anyone was, and everyone's already talking. I'm like,
well, even then, you took your chance though, and we were in Steve's, what was it, interactive live streaming class last semester, and we were just doing like mock podcasts. And we were just talking to one another, and then you just came and sat down, and that was pretty much it.
So the moral of the story is, don't skip school, kids.
Don't skip school.
Don't come to
go to
class.
orientation.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun, I promise. So.
But yeah, today we've got such an awesome lineup of just interviews and entertainment, and it's something I've actually been really looking forward to, because, like I said, I'm normally not a big interactive speaking person, but last night I spent a good time just like kind of getting myself pumped up and ready, and the time's here, and it's going way better than I thought, because everything's just so well put together, and everybody's just having fun, and I couldn't ask for a better team, and I think it's for everybody that's watching online and everybody that's in the back. I think you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna have fun, and I really can't wait to see what we do next, and we haven't even really started the show, and I want more, and it's beyond words just how much time and effort has went into this production from both the faculty and the students and everybody else from the outside programs, who I want to thank, people from the interactive media department who are here working in the back. And I think it's just a wonderful thing. It's been like, even outside of DMP, it's been kind of just everybody coming together and supporting each other for this new program, which I think the college took a risk on building this program, and I think it's paying off really well. be- I have nothing to say but just thank you to everybody that's been helping, that's been supporting, and we're gonna have some fun today. So we're gonna cut to Andre here, and we're gonna have some fun. See you around. Welcome back. Thank you again for Andre for playing us in. Our first guest for today's event is Kathleen Lynch. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, excellent.
Pleasure to be here.
Perfect. Thank you so much for agreeing. Awesome.
Over 30 years in healthcare. That's impressive.
Yes, well, not just healthcare, because actually, I'm thinking back.
Okay.
Gee, I've worked for 35 years, so long time to be. You want me to? Okay, in the workforce, but I started my career at Westway, a local organization. Then I worked for the government for a number of years, Ministry of Community Social Services, Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. Then I also worked at the Canadian Hearing Society, worked here at Confederation College for 14 years, went to a hospital and worked there for almost 5 years, and now I'm back as president. So it's great to be back at Confederation College because this is a great environment.
That's awesome.
How'd you come to enter Confederation College?
There was a posting for a professor in the social service worker program, and my background is social work, so I applied, and I was the successful candidate. So I was really pleased to be able to start my career kind of in my late 30s here back at the college, and be able to learn what the college is about. And I think for most people who haven't received a college education, college is the best kept secret, the college system in Ontario.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you were younger, did you ever think that you would become the president of a college or anything like that?
No, I did not.
No?
But a funny story, the fella I shared an office with when I taught in the social service worker program, he always said, "You're going to be president of the college someday." I said, no, I'm not. He said, yes, you are. So his prediction did come true, and he continues to remind me about that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So you have an honors bachelor in social work.
Yes.
What was it like getting all these degrees and having some sort of pedigree in the workforce? Like that's something. 30 years of work is a long time, but becoming a president of a college is was like astronomical achievement. Like, what was that like working your way all the way up?
Well, I think it really is building blocks, right? So it seems like a huge leap, but if you work your way up and you have experience at each of those steps along the way, prior to coming to the college, I was a vice president at a hospital. So I learned a lot about being a vice president and working with a CEO or president of an organization. And I think every step you in your career, you learn something new. So for you young fellas, it may seem like a big leap, but someday you may be there because you just worked your way up through the system. And I know that 30 plus years of work seems like a long time, but it does fly by.
Absolutely. Now, my question is, I know that you've helped support our program, and definitely helped us do certain things that we that aid us or benefit us for sure, like our 24/7 access to our facilities, which is amazing. Thank you, by the way. How important for you is it to provide a space for students where they can sort of grow themselves as well as be creative for whatever projects that they want to make?
I really give the credit, though, to the faculty who listen to you, right? We wouldn't know as you move up through administration and through channels. It is hard to be in touch with what is needed right at the front line. So great for students because they speak up and they tell us what their needs are, and they give good rationale as to why they need certain things. And then our faculty, I think, are second to none in being able to be advocates for our students and say, this is really needed and this is why. And if there are barriers, they come with solutions to those barriers, as do students, right? So how do we work together? And basically, we need you. We wouldn't be here without you, and everybody has to remember that every day of the year is we're here because of students. So we need to meet your needs.
We are very needy.
Yes, absolutely.
So, born and raised in Thunder Bay.
Yes,
Westport or PA?
PA.
Awesome.
North End.
North End?
Yeah.
Have you... So Confederation College is not only located in Thunder Bay, but it has places outside of Thunder Bay, all across Ontario. How's that come to be? Because Confederation College is almost a landmark of Thunder Bay, and kind of stretching it out across Ontario is almost like, hey, Thunder Bay's here, represent, kind of. What's that like? What was the process for that like kind of outreaching across Canada?
Well, when I started here at the college, we had all our current campuses, but just prior to my leaving, we added Red Lake and Wawa. So we have 8 campuses in addition to the Thunder Bay campus. And in Northwestern Ontario, it's really important to be there in the communities that we're serving so that we understand what their needs are. And without that representation right across our whole geographic area, it's hard to serve those communities well. And I often say, yeah, they might be small campuses, but they give those communities hope too.
Absolutely.
I want to come to school. Maybe I can't come to Thunder Bay, or maybe I can't move to Sault Ste. Marie, or maybe I can't move to Winnipeg because we are on either ends. We're from Wawa to Kenora. Confederation College gives them that option. And you're right, we are right through Ontario because more and more learners that we're reaching through distance education, and they're taking our credentials. So it's an exciting time to be in the college system. It's a competitive time. All the colleges are competing for students, and they're looking at how they make their mark where they are. But we have, I think, a brand now in Northwestern Ontario. And so people recognize the name, and they see Confederation College as their college.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to talk with Vignesh, our Suki president, a couple months back, and he did say, like, just the outreach that Confederation College has with international students and people from all across Ontario is massive, because not only does the college represent itself very well, but the experiences that people have had here is so impactful and so wonderful that, you know, they've told their friends and they told their family, and then they told one and they told another. And Confederation College has kind of become not only, like I said, a landmark of Thunder Bay, but a landmark of Canada, because it's just so welcoming to the point where it's the first place you want to go for college. Like, it's beyond anything I've seen when I was doing research for colleges, because it's just so welcoming and providing. And I think that no other college comes close to what this college has. And I'm curious as to what, if you had to play favorites here, what would be your favorite achievement that you've had as the president?
Well, I'm fairly new, so it's hard to decide. There's quite a few things we've been able
DMP,
to
of course.
accomplish. DMP for sure, that's high on my list. So it's hard to choose right now. I think that we've been able to, I think, better connect with staff. I think that would be something I'm proud of. Better connect with staff, open up the lines of communication between all the staff and my office to make sure that we are hearing what the concerns are. We're responsive to the needs of our students and our staff. So that's probably something that I'm most proud of to date.
I agree. I have family members who are graduates of Confederation College, and bringing up just what the faculty do for us now, and the facilities they provide us, and all the stuff that they are doing to help us through is such a change from how things used to be back in the 70s and 80s. And it's almost like a completely different college, just how progressive and assisting they are for each and every one of us. And it's amazing just how much time they're willing to spend with us in terms of showing us how to do things properly, their experiences, which is the big thing for me, is having somebody who's experienced and knows the field instead of just reading out of a textbook, where it's, you know, people like Michelle who have worked in the TV industry, and Steve who's worked in, Steve and Mike who have both worked in advertising and TV and movies, where they can bring their experiences and kind of pass them on to us in terms of what to do, what not to do. And I think the college really has stepped forward in the last couple of years in terms of providing a increasingly better space for us for our learning. And I think everybody who is working for the college, everybody who's a part of the college, should be proud that they're Confederation College alumni. And I am proud to kind of say I'm part of that now. And that's why I'm kind of looking forward to a next year to kind of pass on the learning that I've learned in this year, as, like I said, as the guinea pig of the first little group of students. And I personally want to thank you for all the work you've done for kind of advocating for this program, because we're kind of new, so we kind of got to stand up for ourselves a little bit around those big kids, like the film program and that.
Not that you're comparing yourselves to anybody.
Oh no, no. But it is really kind of nice to see everybody kind of coming together and propping up this new program to say, let's give it a shot. And I think we've got a lot to show for it.
Yeah, and it's really is the work of the faculty. So you've touched on really important pieces because the program wouldn't be here without the innovation and creativity of our faculty, the support of their administration, not so much me, but the people who they work with in an administrative capacity, who I think you're going to be speaking with next, Richard Gemmell, their dean. And also, you also mentioned alumni are really important to Confederation College. And we have a number of alumni who have done so well and are great ambassadors for us. And then the other thing you also mentioned was about technology. So keeping up with technology is vital for all the colleges. And it's always a struggle to find dollars because we don't always get the funding provincially to fund all the things we need. But we need to, when we have a program like this, we need to invest in the technology to be able to offer the students a quality experience.
Well, I can say that the technology that has been provided has been just amazing, and
Easily.
just the amount of stuff that you can do with this stuff now just kind of makes me feel a little old. Just being able to upload videos and all these new cameras and all this, like the studio, for instance, is just so wonderful that the college has provided for us, that they gave it a shot and trusted us with it, and here we are. And like I said, thank you, thank the faculty, thank everybody that's kind of given us a chance, and we won't disappoint.
Good.
Well, Kathleen, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you
Well,
so much.
thank you for inviting me, and congratulations on the launch of your program studio, your end of your first year, and wish you all the success in your next year as you continue on your journey, and good luck after you graduate too, in terms of finding employment in your field. And I will see you on the stage at graduation.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Perfect.
All right, and we are back. We are here with Brody and I are here with Richard Gemmell, the Dean of Hospitality, Tourism, and Media Arts. So first off, I just want to say thanks, Richard, for coming out, and more importantly, thank you for getting us that private lab upstairs.
Yay.
You're very welcome. Happy to be here.
So you've been you're the Dean of Hospitality, Tourism, and Media Arts, and how long have you had that position?
I am now into my second full year as the dean. Prior to that, I was in an acting associate dean role, and prior to that, I was the chair. So I've been with the school for the better part of 4+ years now, in an administrative role. And then prior to that, I was even teaching as a contract faculty member for just over 2 years as well. So yeah, it's been nice. It's been a really quick 6-7 years. It's been a fast ride, to be honest with you, but it's been an amazing ride. I can't speak highly enough of my experience at Confederation College. They've been really good to me and my family, and every day is an exciting day here. So I really love my job.
Yeah, especially in media, every day is an exciting day for us as well. I think, Brody, you can attest to that.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad to hear.
absolutely. Like you said, I can't speak highly enough of the college and its staff. Like, they've been so helpful to us, and it's been unlike anything I've been a part of in terms of support and just friendliness. And I want to thank you personally for kind of aiding us all through this. And
No need. No, don't thank me. This has been a huge team effort, and as Kathleen mentioned in the earlier segment, this has been a huge team effort from the faculty here at the college and the DMP program, to students, so past students, present students, as well as all the support staff that go along with this. There are a lot of hours in the reconstruction of this beautiful lab, and going to be in the new lab upstairs for you guys next year. So yeah, it's a complete team effort. So I'm just happy to be sort of a part of that wave.
A lot of coffee, yeah.
Well,
But,
there'll be a new outlet for that just down the hall in the new the student sort of commons area down here. So look forward to that in the fall when you come back.
I am right on the corner from where we are. But going on to the kind of like reshaping of the program, it used to be the broadcasting program, and now it's digital media production. What were some of the reasons you had for wanting to revamp it?
Well, I think the industry told us that. When we connect every year with our industry partners through our what we call a program advisory committee, you'll hear a lot of us talk about the PAC. That program advisory committee is really our conduit with industry. So when students like yourselves graduate and go on to look for jobs, it's with those industry partners. So we connect with them annually to find out what they're looking for. What are they looking for in a graduate? But what are they looking for from a skill set? What are they looking for with respect to the technology that we're using? And those messages came back loud and clear that we needed to update ourselves. We needed to, go through a rebirth to bring out those new skills, those new technologies, and that new way of thinking that our students are going to require to be successful in the new media world that we're in. It's not to say that there aren't studio work opportunities out there for students, but they are getting slimmer and slimmer, right? This type of environment is really the new sort of standard workplace for students when they're going out and looking for work. So it really was listening to our industry partners, but also listening to our faculty, who are also quite current in understanding what you as a student need and what our industry partners need. So it's really a combination of those factors.
Yeah, and I think so far from what I've experienced, it's been a very well done job. Like, I do feel like I can be competitive in the new industry, and I guess changing on the program, you were talking a lot with industry partners, and was there any other kind of, can you give us insight on the process of changing basically the entire program?
Yeah, so those are the fun parts, in my opinion. I like all that design work. Michelle and Steve and Michael probably disagree with me because it's the work-intensive process. So when we suspended the old broadcasting program, we immediately started having consultation sessions and some focus group meetings with those industry partners to figure out what we needed to put into the program. And then it really fell on Michelle and Mike and Steve and Renee to take all that information and start sort of fleshing out, well, what would that look like in a course, right? If a student needs to have a certain skill set with respect to equipment, well, what kind of course would allow those students to work with that equipment, but also demonstrate the competency with that equipment? Right. Storytelling is a really big part of this program. So what kind of courses could we incorporate into the program that would allow you to, one, develop a good story, and two, tell that good story? So it's really on the faculty to sort of flesh out, well, how can we best get those students to demonstrate those skills, those pieces of knowledge that they really need to have to be successful. So it's a lot of up in their office work, trying to piece together how equipment, technology, storytelling all fit together in, basically 30 courses.
And I think we are starting to see all that work kind of coming to fruition. I know, like, we have the storytelling classes, we have about all these, like, on-air, social media, all these classes. It's kind of like, I guess, the product of all that work and all that time being put into it. And I gotta say, like, the courses are nice. Like, I'm having a good time. Brody, I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
I can't speak for
absolutely.
you. But like, the courses themselves, I can't really think of the right words, but like
They're like an amalgamation of everything that's going on in the industry, to where you can kind of filter them into each class. So your social media marketing is how to not only present yourself but your brand in the online world and the social media world. And then your interview techniques class is where you're going to learn how to do stuff like this.
What you're doing.
Where you're going to kind of learn how to present yourself and speak, and how to kind of prepare yourself. So if you're going to do stuff like vlogging and YouTube videos, you're going to learn how to do that in these courses. And I think that's the wonderful thing, is you're not going to leave this course and go, oh man, I really wish I learned how to do that, because it's going to cover everything that you need to know.
That's actually a really good point. So maybe to follow up on what I said, that's another part of the really hard work that Mike, Steve, and Michelle put into this, is you're getting the foundational pieces that you need right now. Next year, you're going to take that as a stepping stone into really focusing in on some really hard skills that are going to make you more employable. So if you think of the courses right now as that building block, that stepping stone, next year you're just going to be able to focus a lot more. You think of what you just said about social media marketing and creating that brand awareness. You're going to be able to use that skill now in being able to set up your own story or set up your own sort of image or brand for yourself and really market that next year. So again, that's a lot of that hard work. Like, how do you then do that step-by-step process to build the qualities that a graduate needs? And that, again, falls back on our amazing faculty.
So I guess we are almost into our second semester right now. The first year is almost done. Now, just out of this first year, can you see any places where the program can be improved for the future first years?
That's a good question. I mean, I always fall back on getting you access to the equipment and the faculty is always the biggest piece, right? So trying to invest from a capital perspective and making sure that you have the best facilities, the best equipment to work with. We always have room for improvement there, which is why we have a new lab coming to you next year.
We need to figure out a way to clone Michael Moore.
Wouldn't that be amazing? A clone of Michael Moore. Wow. I don't know if we could work on that. I don't know if we want too much of Michael Moore.
There's no such thing.
I mean, yeah, my biggest focus is making sure that you have the best experience here. So from a curriculum perspective, there's always things that we can tweak, especially after the first run through. I'll be honest with you, when we first started planning out this program, we thought about, incorporating drone technology into the program. We were thinking about using that, especially in second year. But then the government comes out with some more regulations. So we're working around that. We're trying to figure out how we can do that. So that's something that we're looking at. So yeah, I think it's more just sitting down with Mike and Steve and Michelle and Renee and talking about, what went right, where where there's room for improvement, and making some minor tweaks. But I've been really happy with the delivery this first cohort, this first run through. So yeah, it'll be really interesting in May, June to have that conversation. But I'm really impressed with how this first run throughs went.
Yeah. So far, from at least my perspective, things have been really good. Like the classes have been very informative. The out of class helping has been nice. The professors are available to help outside of class. But I'm interested in the drone thing. I'm excited to see what happens with that. Maybe we can get some drones flying around on campus.
It probably won't happen on campus anytime soon, simply because of the city's Thunder Bay. Their regulations around use of drones within city limits is really handicapping. But yeah, Mike and I have had a couple of conversations, and we're certainly looking at other options to try to incorporate that, because again, it's an avenue through which this industry does have some opportunities, and we do want to expose you to as many of those opportunities as possible, but we need to do it the right way, the safe way. So yeah, look forward to some further discussions there.
Yeah, but I want to thank you for I guess spearheading a lot of the changes that are happening in this program, always being in our corner, fighting for us, getting us things like their new lab, hopefully drones.
We'll see.
You'll see about that. But yeah, but like that lab is gonna be nice. Like right now we just have a small little lab with like maybe like 12 or so computers, and now we're getting an actual big one where we can have classes, we can have it working through 24-hour access. It's really, really nice.
Yeah.
Like we'll have to fight with the first years for that, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it will be a new cohort coming through in the fall, so that will be awesome for me, is to see how you second years intermix, because we've had a great history of that sort of student mentorship between first and second year. So I'm really excited to see how that dynamic will work out. And you're right. I mean, having that dedicated space upstairs is vital. So I'm happy that we could secure that for you in this program and all media students. I know IMD has been, really, accommodating with, joining the two groups in their space for the last year, and I still see the great relationships coming out of that work together. So, yeah, I'm really excited. This fall is going to be an exciting time. Going to be happy to see everybody back, and excited to see you in the new space.
Do you have anything to say to the people who are thinking about coming to DMP?
You should come and set up a time to talk with any of our faculty or some of you as the students. Like, you're the best person to describe your experience here. So anytime I can put you folks in front of prospective students is always a good thing. So having something like this streaming everywhere, this sends the best message.
Yeah,
So to me, if you're excited about media, or if you're excited about working hands-on with some really cool equipment, you really should think about some of our media programs, especially DMP.
all right. Again, thank you, Richard Gimmel. We're gonna throw it to Andre Malikler for a quick break, and we'll be back with Chris Fisick in just a moment.
Thanks, everybody.
James. Yeah.
James Braden.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Phew. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the DMP launch. Right with us, we have Corey Nordstrom. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be here.
Okay, great. Now, I wanted to sort of touch on exactly what you do. So if you want to give us a little taste, want to let
Okay.
us know?
Well, locally, I'm here reporting in Thunder Bay for TBT News. And the thing about TBT News that makes it special to a lot of the bigger places when you get to, CTV, Ottawa, blah, 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 the big places, is here you do everything. You go out, sometimes you even find the stories. And then you go and you find what's going on. You find the organizers, you find whoever, you find what's going on, you talk to them, you film the whole thing, you get a real gist of what exactly happens.
Okay.
And then you come back and you put it all together. You do start to finish everything. You film it, you put it all on the computer, you write your story, you edit it, you look at the footage, you put it all together, and then you get that 1.5 minute, 2 minute, whatever it is, that little thing, that little piece that goes to the news. And that's pretty much it.
Now, beforehand, were you were a student in broadcasting?
Yes,
before?
I did exactly what you're doing right now.
Cool, awesome. And seeing the web station and the studio and all the new equipment, was this like a kind of a big change? Like, does it seem different? Does it seem pretty cool?
Oh, it's not even close. It's amazing in here. It's so much more open concept. It's just incredible. The amount of stuff that you guys can do that we couldn't do back in the day. Not necessarily that there was a lot that we couldn't do, but you guys have exactly what the media is going towards. I was just talking to Michelle. She said you guys start off on cell phones, you get bigger, and then you go to the red cameras, film cameras. So you got the full spectrum. And the fact that you guys do that, and even I see the other reporters, maybe CBC or something. I was just in Nescantaga, and they did it all on cell phone. And that's what everybody does now. And sometimes you even see little selfie things they're doing live, and it's like, looks strange, but that's the way the media is going. And it's great that you guys are learning exactly what's happening in the business.
Well, it's super cool to have you actually in here, like a previous broadcast student, I have to admit, and especially since you're doing a piece on our launch out there. That's pretty cool too. What would you say specifically? I know that we're learning a lot about like how to manage social media and how to sort of be in front of the camera, like what we're doing now. What would you say is sort of the most important aspect when you're sort of putting yourself out there and trying to get an internship or trying to get a job or anything like that?
The thing is, I really lean to my teachers, Michelle and Mike. Before I actually was full time with Thunder Bay Television, I done my internship. I done my 1 month internship there. They liked me, but they were like, you know what, we really don't have a spot for you.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'll just like chill. I got grad in a month, so I hung out for basically 2 months. Mike hit me up and said, hey, the U18 World Cup of Baseball is coming to town. I know you're a sports guy. Let's get it. They need somebody. So I did it, and I worked for a company that produced the World Cup of Baseball for South Korea and Japan and all this kind of stuff, and I did nothing. I was a very small, I was an ant to them. They were huge. But the thing is, when you keep in touch with your teachers, they tell you they've been in the industry for years and years and years. They know what's going on, and they're speaking to people who are at my stage or a couple years older than me. So they have the in touch with the people that are actually doing everything. So I'd say definitely stick in with them, get good relationships with them, and anybody else, your classmates, especially. Maybe I was a little bit guilty of this. I found who's the best, who are the people that are going to drag me to the top with them. And so that's what I did. I became friends with as many people as I could, and the thing is, they find jobs for me, and they help me, and they tell me what's going on, and all the kind of stuff. We work together. I've gotten other people from my class. I've worked with them and got them jobs on the studio, so there's a lot you can do, but I'd say relationships are probably one of the biggest things.
Okay, cool. I think it's super interesting too, considering the fact that when we started DMP, as you may have heard, obviously our intro in the very beginning, we going into a new social situation like a new classroom or anything like that. It's a little intimidating, especially obviously when you don't know anybody. But the fact that I think everyone here has sort of gone to that point where we're all super cool with sharing ideas and having different opportunities and stuff like that. So I think that what you're saying about definitely keeping connections is super important and super amazing.
Yes, exactly.
So, awesome.
Everybody sees things differently. So when you get a bunch of people together and they all have the same goal in mind, everybody's going to take a different path. Maybe not everybody, but then you're going to see that there's different ways to do pretty much everything. And that's really important for somebody as you're learning stuff. I know when I came in here, I'd never touched a camera. I'd never written anything for a newspaper, nothing. I was about as rusty as possible, and they taught me everything. So I'm super grateful for everybody here.
I know that for sure. Like just before I know that I was definitely the same way as you. Like when I came in, I wanted to be in front of the camera. I knew that for a fact, but I didn't really have the confidence to do it. And then obviously like Michelle, Mike, everybody, Steve, they teach you definitely how to project and present who you really are in front of a camera. So I think that's super cool. Getting to learn like what you were saying before, the red, the Ursa, the P2, everything like that. It's super valuable. So it's awesome. Super cool.
The skills we're getting here are really great. So I came in here kind of similar to you. I had touched a camera before, but it was just like a basic Canon DSLR, and like I really hadn't done a whole lot of writing or anything. But just like a month or two ago, I wrote like a little story for a social journalism class. And when I reviewed it with Mike told me, this is a well-written story. And I really kind of took that. Like, thank you, Mike. Mike approves. This is a good story.
Oh, it is. Oh, that means something. Having Mike's stamp of approval is something that everybody should strive for. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think same with James. Like even just having that moment of just Mike being like, no, that's really good. You're like, yes, excellent. It's perfect.
And the thing is, sometimes you get the exact opposite. Mike comes in and is like, garbage. What are you doing? And that's just as helpful because then, you're, whoa, Mike thinks I suck. He doesn't think you suck. He just is like, what are you doing? Come on, man. We teach you like principles of stuff. Use them. Use the stuff we taught. And then he actually takes you along and says, here's what you did wrong and why, and here's what maybe you should have done, what you could have done, and these are how you can produce better stuff going forward.
Easily, yeah. It's definitely better to have that sort of constructive criticism rather than just you're doing great all the time. Like even if you do make mistakes, I mean we're all human, right? So even just having that sort of natural growth from somebody telling you like, hey, you can improve on this, you still get good on this, but this could definitely be better is awesome.
Exactly. How do you know if you're growing if you're only doing good? Right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's a huge thing. Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think with DMP as well, having such great teachers, and having such great teachers like Mike, Michelle, and Steve and all them who are just willing to take you through everything is really super cool. I don't know if your experience was any different. Like was there any sort of what specifically in the DMP lab was different when you were here?
All right, so this whole room was probably honestly cut off right where I am, and then we had a much smaller table, and it was kind of like a puzzle piece. It was weird looking, but it worked because we'd have 4 people and we'd have around it, and everybody's kind of in their little nook, and it was odd, and we had everything saying the microphones, but right over here we had, this was actually the studio. The studio went here to there. And then behind me, all of that wasn't opened up to this lab. These were 2 separate things. This was one area, that was another area, and that was purely for doing live productions in the that huge room.
Yeah.
And then it was just a lot more confined, and everything like it worked good and everything, but the way you guys can do it now is just it's so much more. And even when you watch these podcasts or these Sportsnet 1090 whatever, that's how they are. They're so open concept, and everybody's kind of got a look, and who doesn't love seeing the people producing back there, those gorgeous faces. Come on, that's what you want.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I know that for sure. So super cool.
What about some of the technical things? That's what I was wondering, because I know I mentioned that Mike says, oh, you suck. Usually it was Steve, because usually Steve was the one saying, that sucks, this is what you should do, or this is what you shouldn't have done, or this is some stuff to guide you. And Mike was usually, what did you do? Why aren't things working? I remember one time, this is like the testament to Mike Moore, the beauty, is we were working on something probably the day before or 2 days before. I was the worst procrastinator in the world. So I would work everything the day or 2 before, super late. I've slept everywhere. And we were working on an audio assignment, and it was purely audio, and we were in like the big audio booth, and nothing was working. Nothing would record or something like that. And it was like me and like the godsend of our program. He won like all the awards other than on air. But and so we tried everything and we couldn't find what was wrong. And some person who is not the godsend of the program, they were screwing around with some chords, and they were putting things in places because they didn't know what they were doing. They thought they were just putting stuff back. And Mike came at like 11 at night or 11, like super late, like well past any teacher could be like, dude, I'm in bed. Like, work on it at a regular hour and then I can help you. No, Mike came across the town and like fixed it, and it was like a 30-second fix. Like, it was nothing. And the thing that he came all the way across town, his drive was probably like 20 times as long as the little fix that he made so that we could do our project that night and have it done, or even significantly further for the next day, so that we could actually get something out of it.
Yeah, I know that. I want to ask you another question before that, but I know that we're doing our PSAs right now in Mike's class, and so we're even just. I remember I showed him it yesterday, and he was giving me like a bunch of tips. You know, he's like, I already knew I had to reshoot it because some of the lighting was a little bit off, but he was giving me like ideas like, oh, you can go into After Effects and add like a bunch of these symbols here to sort of be like, you know, this would sort of like improve your message, that kind of thing. But yeah, easily having somebody there who's willing to see you succeed and give you the necessary guidance that, you know, will hopefully help you in the industry is awesome. It really is cool, I have to admit.
In the feedback, it's not only just like Mike, but this feedback I get from like Steve and Michelle too is really helpful. Like, I know I don't really go and show them my project beforehand and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking of. What do you think I can improve on? I always wait till I get like it's like 2-3 weeks after I get the marks back. I'm like, okay, let me look at the notes now. Let's see what's going on. And like, I'll read the statement saying like, this was off, and I'll be like, okay, I understand that. Like, the feedback I'm getting on like the marks back is really helpful, and I know personally I need to look at the feedback a lot more, like before the next project.
Yeah.
That's just a personal thing. But
That's another thing, is they give genuine feedback. It's not cookie cutter. You can't just like go and be like, okay, so he got the same here and here and here.
Yeah.
You can tell they actually write the feedback. They're actually
yeah.
serious about wanting you to learn, and not just like completing their, you know, mark backs or anything like that. They actually care about the individuals.
Absolutely. I think too. Like, I think that's why it usually takes a little bit more time to get marks out. More so because everything is so personal, right? And everything that you're trying to strive for is, you know, they want to make sure like, oh, okay, he did really good here, but maybe next time focus on this. You know, like what we've sort of been talking about before. But yeah. So I think having a bunch of supportive, great teachers in a phenomenal program like DMP is something that's super cool. Yeah, and I wanted to ask you too. I remember before you talked about how you would sleep everywhere.
Yeah.
Steve told us a little bit about students coming into sleep quite a few times.
Oh yeah,
And,
there's been classes. Do you guys still have the big gray chairs in the editing labs? I don't know. They were like super old chairs.
No,
I
but
could
we
very
should.
much understand if you guys upgraded, but they were huge, and you could put them together. And not me, I'm a pretty big boy, but some of the girls, they would like curl up and they'd have like full naps, and like it would be like class had started like a half hour ago, and it's like, come on, get
we
up,
gotta
like
go.
we're kind of trying to do something. And we had like an extremely small cohort. We were the last class, kind of the reason why you needed more people, so we needed to change some stuff, right? And then so yeah, they slept there. The green room couch, the chairs in the studio. There's a couch right across from the editing labs in the presenters room, or where you do like panel interviews and stuff like that. And then we'd watch hockey there, and then it was awesome. We had a pretty good time.
I know Steve has definitely cut back on the amount of couches and places we
Chairs
can
since
sleep.
then, so.
We
I'm
tried.
very sorry for that.
We tried bringing a
It's not your
couch in. Steve took it away. He said, "No couches. No one's allowed to sleep." I'm like,
I
"All right."
forgot. I forgot the best one. There was also, we were just like cleaning because like we had to get rid of, because there was a ton of stuff. There was literally decades worth of just like random stuff that people had used in their productions in the studio. So we're just like pulling through. You know, there's hockey sticks, there's helmets, there's all kinds of weird stuff. And then we found a massage table, and that was then my go-to nap spot, because you can have your face down. You're not like pillow in your face. It was amazing. That was my favorite spot to relax when I was supposed to be listening to class.
Now we just sleep in Michelle's class.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, sorry, Michelle.
Shots.
But yeah, all in all, thank you. I love DMP. It's great so far. Thank you so much, Corey, for
Hey,
coming
anytime.
on. Appreciate it.
Anytime you guys need somebody that's a little bit ahead of you in the industry, you need any help, or even I need an interview from a random college event, I'm coming to you guys, okay?
Okay, awesome. Well, it's definitely been great getting sort of that background story on what DMP used to be before. So definitely appreciate you on that part. And we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be back in a couple minutes. And here's Dre.
Awesome. All right, jam out.
Rather make the audio guy work to bring you down than have to bring you up. Eh?
Yeah. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. We are back, and this time we have Chris Physick here. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Awesome. All right. So I want to start off with telling us a little bit more about yourself and sort of exactly what you do and what you're a part of.
Okay, well, I'm the president of the Maverick Entertainment Group here in Thunder Bay. We've been in business for 34 years, and it's a very diverse operation. We do a lot of digital media production, obviously why we're here today. We do a lot of corporate event. We do a lot of audio-visual work, integrations, design, and consultancies. So there's a lot going on, here in Thunder Bay, so we kind of have our fingers in a lot of different projects that are taking place.
Okay, that's awesome. And now, with 34 years of experience, what sort of changes in the industry have you noticed? I mean, obviously, within 34 years, it's probably been quite a lot.
Yeah, there's been definitely a lot of changes. Technology is the obvious change that everyone witnesses. I can remember back in the day when you would have your Betacam camera and someone would be following you in a tether carrying a trunk-sized case, which was the recorder, and now, people are shooting, 4K HD videos on their iPhones, right? So technology has been a huge change, but probably the biggest change that's really come along is with how the marketplace consumes media and how media is created. So again, technology plays a role in that, but I think it's really the position of the media consumers that has changed the most. Video right now, all forms of digital media, but particularly video is very ubiquitous. Every single Facebook post, YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, everything is moving towards video because that's how consumers want to ingest their information, right? Video delivers an experience that you can't get just from the written word or still pictures. So I think the biggest change is definitely from the consumption side of media.
Right. Okay. Because I know absolutely, just as time's gone on, mostly I know. I'm not more so like my parents. My parents more so are more so into cable and TV. I more so get all my news mostly from either the internet or YouTube or anything like that. So for sure, I definitely think that the changes in the industry.
Yeah, so you helped with redesigning this program, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We were working for several years here. I was a prof here in the broadcast program, which is now, evolved into the digital media production program. And, working with Michelle and Steve and Renee and Mike on the team, there were focus groups, there was a lot of impromptu sessions, there was informal get-togethers, and just looking at, how the needs of students have evolved and how the college can meet that. Confederation College has done an extremely strong job of rising to the occasion of finding out what really is going to place students in meaningful jobs when they graduate. So part of the redesign of the program was to take a look at where the world is and where the world is going, and kind of like Wayne Gretzky says, don't skate where the puck is, skate where the puck is going to be. And that's what they're doing here right now at the college, is making sure that the students are exposed to where the puck is going to be in the future. They're going to find out a way to give a very broad range and diverse range of skills to the students that allows them to pick the spot within the digital media industry that they want to participate in. There's obviously the entrepreneurial angle, becoming your own producer, your own content creator. There's a creative angle where you are, the genius behind the evil movies. There's also administrative management. There's the art, the craft, and the business of digital media production. And Confederation College does an extremely good job of bringing those opportunities together, allowing students to make inquiries, learn what there is out there in the world, and how they can participate in the industry.
Awesome. Did you ever know that you wanted to be a part of media or anything like that, or was there any opportunity when you were younger that you could be a part of media?
Well, when I was young was only 10 years ago, but no. No, it was very different. My how I came into the industry was quite different. Back in when I was your age, there was no internet, there were no cell phones, there's no such thing as social media. Television was something that came through two rabbit ears on top of your TV, and you put tinfoil on it to get a better picture, right? So the media industry was very different then. It was probably one of the greatest differences, though, like I said, is the evolution now towards video content. It was mainly a print content in the world when I was younger. But how I came into the business was, back in the day, every young lad wanted to be a rock star, and I played in a couple of different rock bands, and found that I had a strong interest for the technical side of it. So I became less of a musician and more of a technician, and that just evolved into having large stocks of equipment, and that moved from music into entertainment, into video production. So it's kind of an evolution of a hobby into a career, basically.
Okay, awesome. So how did you make your way into Confederation College then? And
Well, the college is one of the most important facilities here in Thunder Bay, right? As an employer, as an educator, as a community leader of all types. So I've been involved with the college for many years. The college is a customer of my business. A large number of our employees come from graduates of particularly at the time, the broadcast program, but also the film program and the digital media program at the time, which was more of an internet graphics-based program at the time. So we were hiring a lot of students to come in as employees, taking on interns over the years, and just establish a relationship with the college that always had a positive outcome. And then eventually that moved into, we were on the advisory board, working with the advisory board, and then we became a prof here for a while. And that was a really, really solid experience.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So going back to the revamp of the program, now that you're kind of seeing, I guess, the outcome of all that work into redesigning the program, how do you think it's turned out so far?
Well, without a doubt, it's been a home run. The digital media program has checked off all the boxes that the groups put together when they first developed. The faculty here and the dean's office here at the college, looked at how they were going to move the program forward. They really took the words to heart of the focus groups and even the informal comments that were taking place, and put together a program that actually meets the needs of students and the needs of the industry. So a lot of times there's academic programs that are very academic focused. The college has blended together the academia and the industry needs into one program that is going to turn out employable students. And I think that is the number one deliverable of the program, is making people that are worthy of getting the jobs that the industry needs to have filled. So I think the college is definitely on the right track for that. And the facility is beautiful. The equipment is top notch. So when a student comes here, they get to touch, feel, and use the best in the industry. So I think it's going to work out very well.
I know for a fact that when I was looking at this program specifically, when I started out, I was really nervous. I wasn't obviously. I wasn't too sure on how to handle a camera or know how to edit videos or export, import, that sort of thing.
For sure.
But for sure, after nearing the end of our first year here, it's definitely been crazy for sure how much I've learned and how much I've grown, and it's definitely interesting,
Yeah.
to say the least.
The program definitely has a very great level of accomplishment with broadening the skills base. I know. When I had my classes, we'd always start out the first class and we would ask students, where do you want to be? Everybody wants to be a cameraman. Everybody wants to be an editor. But nobody really thinks about, the engineering side of it, or very few people think of the engineering side of it, the business side of it, or even the educational side of it. So there's so many different tangents that can be taken from the program once you've exposed yourself to all the different angles that you could look at. A lot of people change their mind by the time they graduate. They thought they started off, I just want to be a cameraman. Now they're thinking about being a producer or a content creator. So it's really great that way.
Easily, for sure. Yeah. I know for specifically in Mike's cinematography class or social journalism, I was exactly like that. I wanted to be a cameraman or an editor. But no, we've delved into developing our own stories. Social with we did scrums with Richard Gimbel, who you saw earlier.
Right.
So we got to really interview them, and I really love that aspect of just being able to develop a story and create it sort of that way. So
One thing about the program that I think is a strong point that a lot of people don't really realize is that the lead educators in the program were actually practicing industry professionals. The team, Mike, Renee, Michelle, Steve, these guys have actually done it, the real deal. They're not just teachers. They have experienced the industry from all different angles. So the experiences that they bring in there as the faculty is really, really powerful. There's other institutions that have faculty that are more just based on the theory. This team has done it all. So it's a really positive thing to have. You have the people at the front of your classroom are the real deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. I think with that too, having Mike, Michelle, and Steve who are so supportive with everyone's own ideas, being able, they always want us to improve and try new things. For instance, like for people in the control room who don't necessarily want to be switcher, they're more so like, no, definitely try it out. Keep your mind open and keep broadening your experiences. Because for sure, I think from sort of obviously working in the industry for yourself, what was it that you're more so specifically looking for from a graduate of a media program or anything like that?
The most important part of hiring an employee in this industry. So, the industry is very different than it was. It's very fast moving, and it is somewhat less technical than it was in past years. Well-rounded skill base is important. When you're talking to somebody and you're looking to fill a position, and if that position could be for camera, it could be for audio, it could be for edit, it all depends what you're looking at. They need to have a very, very broad understanding of all the other components. One of the realities of the industry now are smaller teams that move faster and have a lot of projects with quick turnover time. The days of having a 10-person team to go for a week to capture one story, that's a rarity nowadays. That's only at the highest levels. So having a well-rounded skill base is very important. And the college program provides you with enough opportunities to touch on a lot of different areas that would give you that well-roundedness that's appealing to employers. I know that the program has had a very high success rate with placing individuals in career choices that they like, and I think that that's only going to get better now with DMP. So it's feeling really good and looking really good.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that the skills we're learning are the skills you as an employer are looking for. So maybe we'll get jobs after this after all.
Well, keep an eye on Indeed. You'll never know what happens.
Yeah, it's exciting. So I want to talk more about your role at the project, what was it? The advisory committee, because I'm gonna be there in a couple weeks, and I wanted to more so know about your role and how you specifically play into that.
Well, for this year, I'm the chair of the DMP Advisory Committee. The Advisory Committee is a very important part because it allows the faculty of the program, as well as the administration of Confederation College, to liaise with the industry. And the advisory committee is made up of a very broad section of the local industry. So the people that are providing input to the faculty and administration of Confederation College are from a point of view that may provide them with thoughts they never thought of, from the academic side, right? So the advisory committee's primary role is to sort of bring a reality check to the college. And the college is extremely receptive and very proactive on working with that. So the advisory committee, you'll have people there from the print industry, you have people from the television industry, the film industry, producers, entrepreneurs, students, young people who have been in the industry for 40 years. It's a very, very diverse and broad group of people that come to it. And that sort of mosaic of opinions has an opportunity to provide the best guidance for the administration here at Confederation College. The advisory committee, hence the name advisory, is important there, but it's also more of a sounding board. So when the DMP program has been conceptualized, Michelle and her team came and said, this is what we're thinking, and that gets bounced around for a few years. You get a lot of input coming back in, and I think that helped them form their final decisions on how they wanted to assemble the new program. So the advisory committee, as much as providing advice, is also important for them to listen to what the college is doing and then go full circle and bring that back in a 360-degree fashion to make sure that industry and academic needs are met. So I think the advisory role cannot be underestimated how important it is.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's a very positive environment between the college and the advisory committee. So it's a great experience.
Okay, perfect, awesome, good to hear. Thank you so much, Chris, for
Super.
joining us. I appreciate you for coming on here and having a chance to talk to us about the DMP program and your experience in the industry. So
Thanks for having me.
thank you so much, and we will leave it to Dre, and we'll be right back.
Awesome. Super.
Welcome back to our DMP production. We have us now, Stephanie Reed. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So you are a graduate of Confederation College.
A multi-time graduate of
Multi-time.
Confederation College. Liked it so nice I came twice. I graduated from the broadcasting program in 2001 when I was 6. And then I graduated from the marketing program in 2011.
Cool. So you are a part of the DMP advisory committee, correct?
I am.
Awesome. How did you come across learning about the DMP and what the college has kind of created here?
Well, I mean, I've sort of from the sidelines been involved with the transition a little bit, with the focus group discussions and things like that in the early days. Digital media appears in my job title, so people ask me questions from time to time about what I think you guys should learn in this program and things like that. So I guess I've kind of always known that the program was going to transition to this. Very happy that it has.
You mentioned your job. What is your job?
I am the Digital and Travel Media Officer for Tourism Thunder Bay.
Awesome.
So a division of the city of Thunder
So you're
Bay.
in charge of kind of promoting Thunder Bay's tourism sections and that?
Yeah. So I have basically 2 major things that I focus on. I do all of the digital marketing, so all of the social media, the website, basically anything that doesn't happen on a piece of paper. And then I also do media relations with travel writers and TV shows and other things like that. So I'm really fortunate. I get to travel to some pretty neat places because those people usually tend to live in some pretty cool places. Mm-hmm. And so I get to go there and meet them, and then I try and convince them to come back here and make their TV show about us or write an article in a magazine about us or things like that. And so it's really great. I've lived in Thunder Bay most of my life, and I love it here. And so it's super exciting for me to get to share those stories with the world.
Are you how did you get to be a part of the city and work with them?
Yeah, so I'm the first person to ever have the job that I have right now. It was a newly created position. Kind of like this program, the city recognized that there was a need for a person to do that digital marketing and to deal with digital media, and so there was an opportunity for them to create a job, and so they did. I had a very unique background and a unique combination of skills. I was a broadcasting graduate. Immediately after graduation, I moved to Winnipeg and I did my placement there. Mm-hmm. At a large production house there. And then I worked in news production and live TV out there for years. And then I came back to Thunder Bay and just sort of did some other things here for a few years, and then went back to school and took marketing. And then I worked at an advertising agency for years, and so I had this combination of skills that was, video production and TV and sort of that idea, and then news, so I understood like media and telling stories and working with journalists, and then also marketing and being able to share those stories. So knowing how to tell them, how to find them in other people, and then how to share them with the world. And it just sort of worked perfect for that job. And so I was lucky enough to get it. And I actually it took a really long time at the time due to a series of just things. The city was in a hiring freeze and there was a lot of things. So it took 9 months from the time that I applied for the job until I actually got it. Wow. And I happened to be employed by a local advertising agency who kept me employed knowing that I was going to leave as soon as these other people hired me, and every day he would go, "Did they call you yet?" No, not yet, but so thanks for him too.
So being part of the committee for DMP, what does that entail? What does the community do for DMP itself?
Really, we just sort of get together and we bring our collective experience, and this group has a very broad set of experience, and we just sort of come together to bring real-world experience into the college. The college is here to teach students. They're not here to know the ins and outs of the digital media world, right? That's where we come in and we advise them on what the industry needs and where jobs will be available for you guys and the types of things that you need to learn to be able to get those jobs, and then hopefully they create curriculum so that you can learn those things.
Awesome. Do you feel that the industry in terms of outside of like international like students and people is kind of shifting towards more of a need for social media like engineers, so like the DMP people in the DMP program that are looking for social media marketers, cinematographers, stuff like that. Do you get a lot of feedback in terms of that?
Oh yeah, huge. I mean, everybody needs that, right? So no matter if you're Coca-Cola or if you're, some lady that makes cupcakes and sells them out of her house, you have a Facebook page, you have a Twitter, you have an Instagram. You need to manage that. You need to make content for it 7 days a week. You need to know how to do that stuff. You need to know what kind of content reaches people. And if you make cupcakes, you might not. And so there's an opportunity for all of you to fill those needs for people. And literally everyone uses these products, and you will be the experts on how to create the content for them.
That's awesome. So being part of the city's tourism and being part of the council, how do you find that DMP is kind of, I should say, DMP is kind of shaping into this global or provincial influence and kind of centerstone for change in terms of how students are approaching social media and that. How do you feel that's going to change for people like you whose job is social media? Do you think that we need more people in terms of the field that you're in?
Yeah, I'm not like certainly, yes, more people need to come into this industry. I am not worried if that's kind of what you're alluding to. Certainly, I've gone through this already. I graduated from the broadcasting program in 2001. I heard you talking to that other guy. He was from here a couple of years ago, right? I was here in the days of High 8. Are you familiar with what High 8 even is? It was like these like little tiny videotapes that were like the worst, and we used to have to shoot your stuff on that tape, and then you'd have to convert that tape to a different tape because the editing machine used a different tape, and it was like real time, and it was, so you'd learn all this technology, and then like a year later that was nothing. No one uses this anymore. And so I've already been through that, where the technology changed and you had to, that I went back to school, I went and took marketing, I learned a new skill set, right? That's where the world is right now, is at that skill set. There is plenty of room for all of you to have work here because, like I kind of said before, is that there are so many people on these platforms and they're so accessible. With broadcasting, we learned how to make high-end TV commercials, let's say.
Yeah.
But only the largest businesses could afford people to make those. Right. So there was still a limited market of people using your services. Mm-hmm. But here, like every single tiny little business has a marketing budget and they don't know how to spend it. And so that's where you will come in and you will know how to make quality content for them and you will make it and they will succeed because of that, right? And so there is plenty of work for everyone and for this class and for all the years forward.
Do you feel that like Facebook and social media is the way the world is kind of shifting to in terms of marketing themselves instead of how it used to be where, newspaper ads, radio ads, TV ads, all that? Do you think that's kind of going to the side a little bit, or do you think that they're kind of working together and making this conglomerate of advertising?
Yeah, and my personal professional opinion is that they should work together. They don't necessarily. Yeah, you're absolutely right. People are shifting their entire marketing budgets to social media. Yeah. I'm of the mind that that's not the most wise decision. Right. People do it because social media is, vastly less expensive. Mm-hmm. So you can do something with a few $100s where like previously a few $100s might buy you one spot at midnight on some, and so it gets smaller amounts of money get people into the game now where they couldn't before, for sure. But larger companies are spending way more money on social media. And for me, for example, in tourism, I'm absolutely trying to attract young people and millennials and all of that. But the fact of the matter is my largest market is retirees in RVs. Mm-hmm. And they still watch TV and they still read magazines and they still look at billboards and they still do all of that stuff. Mm. And so that's a part of what we do. And so I reach that market with that media and then I reach a younger market with a different media and we use a different tone of voice in both of those and it's entirely different markets. But that is also why social media is great. For that same reason is that you can target individual people with individual messages. So you can get more specific, right? So we always refer to traditional advertising as spray and pray, right? You just throw it out there and you hope to God
It works
somebody
best.
saw it.
Yeah.
And you do your best to find the right magazine or the right channel or the whatever, but it's hard to measure and you're not really sure if it worked ever. But with social media, you can track it. You can target people in their house. Like, you can target people to their home address. Just you. I just want to send this ad to you, right? Like, it's crazy. And so, like, you can definitely see why people are doing that, because you can reach the right people, right?
I, for one, love our Amazon overlords. Yeah, I've had this conversation with a couple of like local businesses, and I find it interesting to see different opinions from different even generations. Like some people who own local businesses who are from an older, like in their 70s, 60s, they feel that social media is the way to go and paper ads are dead. And then I talk to newer business owners who are quite the opposite, where they feel magazines and newspapers are the way to go. And I find that so interesting to see each kind of group seeing social media and just media in general in terms of marketing and advertising just in different lights. And I find that so fascinating because our social world changes so fast that it's hard to keep up, but yet somebody's always able to keep up, regardless of who it is. And then once you jump on that new thing, for be it Facebook, if you're advertising on Facebook and that's hot, you're going to get those ads. But if you're advertising in a newspaper that somebody reads only on Sunday, then that sucks. But I think we need all these media, because regardless of who reads it, somebody's going to read it. And I think outreach, regardless of age and group, I think is super important. And I find it, yeah, like you said, just being able to target specific like demographics is, I think, really key, especially now, because there's so many people out there now that and you have the ability to, males in their 30s, I want to target them, and women in their 40s, I want to target them. The ability to pick and choose that, especially in the digital age, is amazing, because looking back when I was a kid, we didn't have internet, and the only way I found out through things was the radio or TV, and now I could pull up my phone and read the news there or see an ad for something there. And I kind of looking over it's fascinating to see the world change so fast, and kind of there's always going to be a need for people to sell you that stuff.
Yeah, right? Like,
Yeah.
we always need stuff, right? And people are always making stuff. And
Yeah.
so, marketing is a very old profession, right? And but the fundamentals of that never change.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what media you're using, and the fundamentals of what you're trying to do is always the same. And you're always trying to sort of spark an emotion. And social media is very good at that. The issue with that is it tends to be negative emotions, right? Social media gives that to people. And so that's another reason why there is still a place for traditional media, because TV makes people happy. The people get happy when they watch TV. Even if it's like a scary show or an intense show, people like it. It makes you feel good. And there's a certain cachet that comes with having a TV ad too. And so, like, when you can reach a level where you can have a TV ad, that gives you a level of credibility that no amount of Facebook ads will ever give you, right? So, like, it's about blending those two things together.
Well, Stephanie, I want to thank you for spending some time with us, and we'll be right back with more interviews. Stick around.
here. Okay. The Jit's not here. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. So we are joined by Chris. How are you doing?
I'm well.
Excellent. Cool. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Work in progress, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my name is Chris Dorota. I represent a group called Advanced Systems Integration, which does design and build for any kind of plant for IT, broadcast, telecommunication, all that kind of fun stuff. And I was given the wonderful opportunity to build this new facility for DMP.
Oh, it's awesome. Excellent. Excellent.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh,
yeah,
you're
it's awesome. To admit, it's
very
come together
welcome.
very, very, very nicely. I have to admit. So.
Getting the last little, I's dotted, T's crossed, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So-
no, it's how long did it take for this whole start to finish?
I'd say the entire thing from inception and conception to where we are today, probably about 6 months total.
That's it.
That's about
Wow.
it.
You guys work fast.
Well, you got to remember too. I'm not the only guy. Like the infrastructure side of it for any of the technology involved, definitely more my suit, my hat. But you got to remember construction, framing walls, woodwork, desks, electrical, any of the other trades that were in here. There was a cavalcade of individuals like in and out of this place, making this whole thing happen. So once the walls are up and the coats of paint are on, that's when I get to walk in and start, making holes and messing it all up again and having that kind of fun. But altogether there was crews working pretty hard for at least bare minimum 6 months to get this to where we are today.
So how did you get approached about this project?
Well, of course, the college has a pre-existing relationship with my other full-time vocation, which is broadcast engineering for Dougal Media. So I'm one of the full-time systems engineers there for television. And Michelle had actually approached my chief engineer saying, hey, are you guys interested in building out DMP? And he said, well, we're not directly interested, but I think I know a guy who is. And that's when I was approached by him and said, hey, you want to do this? Sure. Why not? Yeah, it sounds like fun. I'll do it.
So the facilities were built in conglomerate with a bunch of other groups, but tell me about yourself, like your job, like how you kind of got into Dougal Media itself.
The technology as a whole, or just the broadcasting side of things specifically?
me.
What's that?
Surprise me.
Surprise you. Oh, okay. Well, the technology side's more interesting. So I was about 6 months old, and my dad was shaking some keys in front of me, and then he got distracted by my older sister, and then before you know it, I'm picking him up and crawling towards the nearest electrical outlet and just jamming those in there as hard as I possibly can, flying across the room. And I guess from that day forward, I started taking apart the microwave. It's kind of the way it happened.
It's history from that.
Yeah, that's the distant past. In more recent years, when I was in high school, I've always been pretty technically minded. I like how it works. I like learning how it works. You know what I mean? So of course I was finding every screwdriver in the junk drawer I could and taking everything inside apart. Parents come home from bowling and the TV's in pieces on the floor, and there's me sitting there going, "This is neat." But in high school, we had a pretty well outfitted communications program. So it was a nice studio space with a lighting grid, 3 cameras on dollies, a couple of really nice switchers, a nice audio console. It was well outfitted. It was an actual production facility inside the high school. And I immediately took that course. So I'm like, look at all of this stuff and look at all the blinking lights, and this is really, really cool. So as time kind of went on through the course, my teacher at the time obviously saw the interest, and he'd ask me questions about stuff, even things he didn't know himself, of course. My curiosity would say, well, I got to figure out what he's asking me. And so, you start reading, you start learning some stuff. It's like, hey, that question you asked me, I have an answer now. Mm-hmm. And that interest grew and grew and grew, and finally said, well, I used to work at the TV station. Would you be interested in maybe taking an internship or some part-time there? I said, yeah, that sounds great. A bigger place with more blinky lights and buttons. This is even cooler than this place. Absolutely. And they're going to pay me for it? Wow, yes. So inevitably, I sat down with my current chief engineer, who was just recently taking the seat from his predecessor at the time. And we got to talking, and he took me on a tour of the place. Said, well, if this is something you're interested in, why don't you come in on the night shift? school's over. You don't have to worry about your education getting in the way, and you can come hang out and play with the buttons and lights. Absolutely. Yeah, sign me up immediately. And that's almost 20 years ago now.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, actually this coming January. Yeah, this coming January it'll be 20 years to the
20
day
years in
that
the
I
industry.
started in broadcasting. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome. So having the chance to sort of tear down the old facility and build up a new one, is that sort of like a gratifying experience, and seeing like sort of your
Call it bittersweet, because at the end of the day, when you're pulling out the old, like there's still value in it. You know what I mean? Like even the old traditional television broadcasting facility was very well outfitted. The group that built it, Applied Electronics, they're based out of Southern Ontario. They're huge. They're a massive organization that do massive builds. Like I am like the regionalized minuscule version of what those guys do. You know what I mean? But to take it out was kind of like, it's a bit of an end of an era. You know what I mean? Like I'm the one that has to sit here and cut all the cables and remove all of this in the least violent fashion possible. And you realize that it's something that's coming to an end, but then of course that made space to facilitate and grow what this is now. And it's a new era, a new generation. The one thing that I like the most about that change is it represents more of an ideal of where traditional broadcast is heading. Like even you guys, what's 90% of your media consumption? Is it traditional cable television or radio?
Like I don't watch TV, so
yeah,
most
I'm in the
people-
same boat as well.
Exactly,
honestly, so.
but do you watch Netflix? Do you watch videos on YouTube?
Yeah,
do you,
Netflix
do you
and YouTube,
consume
big ones.
media in some fashion or another based on whatever delivery mechanism is approached? And that's more what I'm kind of sneaking at. Like if we look at where traditional broadcast sits and where it's going and the directions it's taking, the consumption is mostly online. The media is available online. You can listen to any radio station from around the entire globe right now with an app on your cell phone.
I'm still amazed we have like 24 gig like USB sticks. That still blows my mind.
Absolutely, and and then you're getting into the ones that are like 512 gig and a terabyte and beyond. Like we've managed to take pretty much the entire breadth of content that the universe has to offer us right now and shrink it down onto something that's the size of a postage stamp that you can take with you, and that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat conceptually. But the one important facet that I'm trying to get at is when we look at what DMP represents, it's definitely the understood change in the way that people consume media. So the fact that it's not traditional broadcast with a transmitter site and an antenna, and you have to have this device that's dedicated to picking it up. You have this device that's dedicated to picking it up instead, and you can consume this anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
For value, I'd say that's definitely great, especially for anybody who's involved in the program, and then moving forward from there into whatever their full-time vocation is actually going to be, because at large, you're going to see that shift in the industry, whereas more online media is available. And you look at even the big networks in Canada right now, like your CTVs and your Globals, they're pushing for more video on demand content.
Yeah.
They're working their way towards having that more, the Netflix appeal, so to speak, and like the Crave TVs of the world and things like that.
Yeah,
And if you're not in line with that, then when everything starts shifting in that marketplace over that more full time, you're going to be left behind. So establishing this at even the learning level, the post-secondary level is fantastic, because it represents where the industry is going long term, and that's endlessly beneficial. I think it's a beautiful way to establish it.
I personally just like I see this transition to video on demand more and more.
Oh, absolutely.
I personally I appreciate being able to select and choose my media as opposed to having to pay a cable package and stuff like that.
Well, you look at the inception of YouTube when it was first launched. Those three guys, basically university students that picked that thing up off the ground. That's kind of the first curtail towards moving into consumption on that level, where you get to pick what you want to watch. You have an endless library to sift through and pick the things you want to view, see, consume in whatever manner you wish to do. More importantly, when you want to do it, when you have the opportunity to do so. It's not built on a schedule that someone else defined, it's yours. And that's what I think makes the natural progression towards that type of consumption more obvious. You know what I mean?
So being in the industry for 20 years, what's the biggest change you've seen so far?
Analog to digital.
Yeah.
So when I first began, it was analog domain, analog cameras, shooting traditional linear tape, traditional tape to tape deck editing, with like, you know, 2 large VTR machines and a jog shuttle controller in the middle. Now that we've gone to digital, editing happens in the nonlinear realm inside of a piece of software of your choosing, and can be cut and sent out the door in a quarter of the time, basically. Transmitter sites, oh Lord, for traditional broadcast television especially. We used to maintain 2 very large analog tube-based, like vacuum tube-based transmitters from the mid-'60s, basically. But those things were very loud, very obnoxious, very hot, and towards the end, very difficult to maintain, because, like, where do you find replacement parts from the 1960s? You know what I mean? In this day and age, the 2 DTV television transmitters that we're running right now, with the same service, basically, you put up a stick on top of your TV and you get 2 high-definition TV channels with 5.1 surround sound. But it's now in a cabinet that's about yay wide and about 5 feet tall. And that shift in and of itself, where you don't have a 2,000 square foot floor space filled with transmitter, down to this one rack that's basically doing the same job. It's never ceases to amaze me. Going back to the whole storage miniaturization kind of analogy you're making there, it's like we've taken something that was a room worth of equipment and shrunk it down back into that postage stamp again, and there it is, just humming away doing its job. The one thing that's interesting, though, in this day and age is I find that it's not quite the same life expectancy. Like, we talk about these tube transmitters from the 1960s. I guarantee you we're not going to see the same longevity out of the next generation of equipment, and that's a very interesting kind of facet. Like, I can remember when 1080p was all the rage. And it's 1080, oh my Lord, it's 1080p. Look at this. Look how crisp and sharp. Well, get out of the way, 4K is here.
Yeah, 4K.
Well, guess what? Sony's got their 8K out now. Well, what about 16K? What about 12K? What about every resolution jump after that? And it's like all of a sudden you don't see that life expectancy anymore. So that's a bit of an oddity to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, the idea is you built for either a return on investment, because it's the capital expenditures in that are insane, but you want to see that longevity. You know what I mean? Because, like, even from a consumption standpoint of now physical equipment, it's like, well, pitch it in the landfill because it's completely obsolete inside of, 5-6 years, as opposed to 40 or 50 or 60 years now. So that's one thing I haven't quite come to terms with yet. You know what I mean? Just that very fast turnover. The technology changes faster than you can implement it, integrate it, and already the new things out. Anybody remember 3D TV?
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely, yeah.
Yeah,
barely,
guess
if
what? It
anything.
was there. There's people spent a lot of money on broadcast trucks for 3D TV, 3D movies, et cetera, et cetera. That technology isn't in people's living rooms anymore.
No.
It was a flash in the pan and it's gone. And that was replaced by now what 4K is to consumers. And that will soon be replaced by 6K and 8K. So here we go again.
Well, Chris, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Awesome. Thank you
We'll
so
be
much.
right back.
And we are back. We are here with Ashley Coral, the manager of marketing and communications here at the college. So, Ashley, can you tell us a little bit about what you do here at the college?
Yeah, so thank you for having me today. This is really exciting. We're really proud of everything you guys have been doing. Yeah, me and my team support the marketing and advertising communications needs for the college across the board, both externally and internally with our students and staff to make sure everybody knows what's going on here at Confederation.
Nice. And so I guess you've been following our social media takeover that we've been doing.
I have been, yes, with great interest. It's been a lot of fun. I think it's really neat to be able to have you guys as students actually taking it over quite literally and getting that real world experience that relates very much to your program and the direction that you guys will hopefully be heading in your careers. And so it's you guys have been doing a really great job so far.
Thank you. I know we've broken off into various different groups where some people are creating videos, some people are making pictures, while other people are managing the social medias. And we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat, I believe, if I'm right, Brody?
I think that's all of them, yeah.
Yeah, and so we have a backlog of content for all of them. We've been trying to post regularly. I think Brody, how do you feel like the social media takeover has been going?
I think it's really interesting because giving a bunch of students complete access to your social media for one of the biggest colleges in Ontario is both crazy and awesome. Just the fact that we have complete control over it and we are creating the content for it instead of it being provided for us, and we're able to post when we want and upload the content that we create, that we've made ourselves, and put it out there and say, hey, this is our program, we made this, check it out. I think that's just amazing, because what other college has done that? What other company has done that? Just given it to some kids and said, hey, here you go. It's amazing the amount of content, looking through it and producing it, just what we've kind of made to kind of promote ourselves and kind of promote the college and the program. And I think we really should pride ourselves on the content we've made, because nothing like this has happened before.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I'm really impressed with what you guys have done, and it is a risk, but we've got really strong faculty that are supporting you and guiding you, and it sounds like, and I knew a little of this already, but you guys have put a lot of planning into it, and that's really something that I think gets lost a lot of times when you talk about social media. People, because they use it personally, feel like it's just hey, I throw up a photo and a comment here and there, but you do need to pre-plan, especially when you're operating a larger channel for a larger institution. So I'm really pleased to hear you guys have put a lot of thought into what you're doing, and even just as you're talking, seeing how things are performing and watching the analytics so that you can learn from that and adjust content as needed. And the whole team effort of everybody contributing it's exactly what we do in our department here at the college officially. So it's been exciting for us to watch you and see where that's gone. And it's, I think, really important to empower our students to speak their stories, because you guys are the best storytellers for your experiences here at the college more than anybody. We can say how great we are, but it doesn't mean the same as when it comes from one of you. So we're proud that you're proud of Confederation College and out there telling that story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and working on the social medias, though, it was a fun challenge figuring out okay, well, what kind of content we're gonna post. Are we gonna have it every day, or what's for Instagram is gonna be every day? YouTube, how many times a week are we gonna post? And figuring out what to post, what we can and cannot post. I know we've all had an experience for what we can and cannot have on the social media, but it's just been really fun. I know I've been working with the video team on coming up with different video ideas and piecing them together, editing them, shooting them, all that whole deal. But I think Brody, you're with the video team as well.
Yeah, I am. I began filming stuff for daily life of a DMP student, and I've been enjoying it and been enjoying seeing what the other video team has been producing. I'm not sure if all of it's gone up yet, but I'm really excited to kind of see how people react to it, because a lot of it's been so much fun to produce, and kind of more fun to show to everybody. To say, we did this all without
the teachers, and and it was great.
Yeah, and to your point, there are when you're working out there, especially for larger institutions or organizations, there are some guidelines you need to keep in mind to protect the brand, to make sure that you're engaging all the audiences as well. Aside from that, the various platforms all require a little bit of a different touch, right? And understanding what that is and who you're speaking to is a big part of that. So, yeah, I'm really happy to hear you guys have had a good time with it.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to turn the tables on you and ask you guys a question. So you've talked about it a little bit, but when you're talking about a day in the life of a DMP student, what's that like, and what have you been enjoying about your experience in this program? Because it is the first year with you guys.
For me, it's not having 8:30 classes.
I graduated from business marketing. We didn't start till 10 o'clock either, so I enjoyed that. Yeah.
But in all seriousness, it's really kind of the interaction between that. There's no disconnect between the faculty and the students. They give you the email. They say, contact me if you need anything, and when you email them, they will reply. You're not going to get, I'll let you know in class later. They'll tell you, if you need help, they will help you. If you need something from another student, the students are going to help you. Everybody is so accommodating and so ready to kind of support each other. It's amazing, because I wouldn't have expected that from just from a first time program, especially where everybody's kind of nervous, especially the faculty are kind of nervous trying to figure out what goes where and how to do stuff. But it's looking back at it over this 2 semesters, everything's come together. It's like a perfectly fit puzzle piece where everybody connects, everybody works together, and this is kind of the picture we've made for the first year, and I'm excited to see what the next picture is going to be for both our class and next year's class.
Yeah, and we've really grown as a community and a family in the DMP program. I know I've walked into our private lab and seen one student helping crack another student's back. I know we've gone out to lunch a few times. We've invited a lot of the professors like Mike, Steve, Michelle. We've invited them to come out to lunch with us. They've all said no every time, but we will keep asking. One day, we're getting some of you guys out there for lunch one day. But it's just as a community, we've as a family, really, we've all grown to help and support each other and be there for each other.
I'd like to add something. I'm not in this program, but I've been in and out for a week helping my friend Mitch do a podcasting thing and stuff, and everyone is just so welcoming, and I've learned so much this past week, and everyone is just it comes together in one family. Everyone's laughing with each other, and it's just such a happy environment. So it's really welcoming.
I'm really excited to hear that, because I know the faculty, and the college overall worked really hard to create an environment for you guys to feel, that you could be creative and innovative, but also supported to kind of take this and go on this journey with us in this new program for the first time. So I'm super pleased to hear that you're enjoying that and helping to set the tone for it. It'll be interesting to add another class next year and see how you guys all on track. But even just today with the studio launch is a really nice way to kind of wrap up all of that work throughout these 2 semesters and see everything you've learned come together. And again, that team effort of you guys all working together is really neat to see.
I know. I'm really excited for the new first years to come in September and see how they turn out. I hope they bond as well as we have, but I also know that maybe if they are more shy and kind of in themselves, but I know we'll definitely, at least I'll be there for them. We as a family will be there for the new students. You won't, maybe not. But these for the new students coming in, I hope they blend as well as we have. But if not, we'll be there for them.
Oh yeah.
What advice might you have for the next group to come through?
Personally, number 1, don't procrastinate. That is my worst. It'll kill you. Second, attend class. Absolutely. Even just missing one day, there's just so much there to kind of take in. It's important. And third would be have fun. Don't be afraid to have fun.
All right, well said. Now, we're going to throw it to Dre now for a last song. Thank you, Ashley, for coming out.
Thank you very much. It's been great.
Thank you guys for having me. The song's called Ordinary World. Where can I find the city of shining light in an ordinary world? How can I leave a buried treasure behind in an ordinary world? Baby, I don't have much, but what we have is more than enough. Ordinary world. What would you wish if you saw a shooting star in an ordinary world? I'd walk to the end of the earth and afar in an ordinary world. Baby, I don't have much, but what we have is more than enough. Ordinary world. Baby, I don't have much, but what we have is more than enough. Ordinary world. Thank you.